Hello everyone, it's Viento, and finally I can play some, EX7 decks, and the first one I want to show off is the new Cendrillmon deck. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I think it's a really solid deck going to EX7, especially after the ban list, because it did slow down stuff like Numamon, stuff like Dcgo, Red Base. So again, I think this is definitely a deck worth to check out. And my first matchup ends up being against Lilithmon, another new deck that got some upgrades because we had the Lilithmon from the previous EX set along with the original Lilithmon, and then we got the X line a little bit. So again, I think it could be really annoying to face off against. And then you're gonna see the opponent just go into 3 different trainings, which now I guess is pretty fine enough for them because now they just stockpile a whole bunch of them just to get all the pieces. And my hand isn't looking the greatest just because I didn't really have a whole lot in my hand just because I had some trainings as well along with just some Tamos. So obviously at least with the Cendrillmon deck, having your Aristas out as soon as possible still can be good because it still helps you flood the field, and if you can still keep turn, obviously the other one gives rush, so that can still be really helpful as well. Now you see them promote to obviously just get a little bit more draws in and helps up the trash. They have the Rush Geomon in there, so that's pretty solid as well. Then they go X evolve until they debut to spawn a token. And in this, don't worry, I didn't have the tokens in this match, but I do have tokens set up for the next one, so if they're blank, that's why. But I don't move out just yet because I still want some pieces, and I end up finding the EX7 Cendrillmon, which I think is obviously a little bit better just because it can play a level 3, but the starter point is still solid just because it counts for the entire field, so obviously you can give mine 6k, but in this case I didn't exactly need it. And now I'm thinking whether I want to move up or not, and I was just checking the Lilithmon X stuff, and in this case I do, so obviously I just play into the EX7 one, so that way I'm able to play out the level 3 and I'm able to search. Thankfully I end up finding the EX7 Cendrillmon, a really key piece, and I think the better Cendrillmon in comparison to the starter deck one. Just because it can spawn a token every single turn, along with the fact that the one attacking is pretty good. And in this case, I end up hard slamming the promo Nightmon just to kind of try to kill off the Lilithmon X. And while he is able to get a piece back and Promo Form goes to Scaly, I didn't mind because Lilith X is gone, along with me pretty much almost wiping out the entire board just because I'm able to then overclock with Cendrillmon to minus 6k to the blocker he set out before, and I didn't really care that I gave them back Pro Form just because they're kind of forced to have another Lilith X or another Lady Devimon X. And I think the force whiff on the train might have been a misclick, or it might have just been a way to kind of get most stuff in trash because you're going to see them go into the BT2 Lilith. But I think the BT2 Lady Devimon is still a fantastic card because it's a decent cycle card, and since Lilith still wants to use options here, it helps you kind of clear a board a little bit because with this, since they play back one of the trains they got back, they're able to kill off my level 3, and they finally do end up having another Lilithmon X, which kind of is a struggle for me just because I killed one and now they have another one back. They just end up playing the Floodgate Cyclone, and I believe it can't be reduced costs, so that doesn't really affect me all that much. And with a Lilith X out again, I kind of have to just remove it, or else it keeps on gaining value, which to me is obviously a better thing. And in this case, I just go the Chessmon in the back to pretty much ensure I have something in the back just in case if I don't draw another rookie. And in this case, again, I'm just trying to kind of kill off the Lilithmon as soon as possible, so that way they kind of have to build up into a second one. And in this case, I end up obviously going into another Cendrillmon, being able to have that out, along with the fact that now I'm able to kind of kill it off. I spawned another token. The token pretty much got a free check-in because I ended up just hitting into a calling, and in this case they ended up just deleting the Cendrillmon, which kind of sucked. But again, I do have the other one on the board, and that one at least had protection, so that's good. And obviously now I have to try to delete some Digimon, and obviously since I could still trigger overclock first, I end up doing that. But since I ended up having to pick the token to delete, that kind of saved me in the long run. So I'm pretty sure that's how that interaction is supposed to work out in the end. So again, that's overall good for me. I ended up keeping my Mega on board. And then I ended up bringing up the level 4 I had in the back, and I ended up giving the Token Rush. I was thinking I should have swung with it in my turn. As you can see, I did it, and I'm not exactly sure why, but it is what it is. I do have a kind of wide enough board, and I end up swinging with my ultimate right now just because, you know, I end up evoing into the Star Deck Cendrillmon so I can spawn out more tokens, and thanks to the inherent reboot I had, I'm able to at least, you know, still make that a blocker no matter what. So I think in the end that worked out, and I end up just playing the Junkmon, the one that gives, you know, decoy to all your puppets, which I think is pretty nice because they kind of have to delete that, and if they don't, I pretty much just keep it safe no matter what, at least one of my puppets. And now they're still kind of stuck in a really hard place just because I have a ton of bodies on board and they only have the one at the moment. So now of course they want to go up the chain to kind of make sure my Digimon have the effect to, oh, if you attack with this, you know, you can explode. And since that like one security, I think they do need a pretty hefty amount of blockers to kind of get around all my stuff. Since I do also have still a decent amount of overclock stuff, it can be really tough as well. And you know, they end up just going into another EX6 Lithmon, which again gives the effect end of attack to kill the Digimon, which again I kind of have to be careful, but since that one security, if they don't really have any disruption, you know, on their in their head or on the board, I kind of just don't care because no matter what, I can still kind of just try to go for a game because, you know, they'll still have one security. And they still are able to keep tones thanks to the Ignite One Hit, but I don't think it's the biggest deal just because I'm still going to 3 anyways. At least this lets them like maybe make a slightly less bigger play. I'm not exactly sure because, you know, if they put me to 3, I'm able to just, you know, go 4, and if they put me anything above 3, obviously that's better for me. So they play the BT7 Gallymon, don't activate the effect, but I don't think they really want to at that point. And obviously, thanks to the EX7, another token spawner, and now I'm able to get just, you know, a bunch of tokens. But since they have the Witchmon hit, I believe they want to like try to at least stop one attack to hopefully stay in the game just for a little bit longer. So obviously, you know, helped out a little bit. But I think with just the sheer amount of bodies, I don't think it really mattered all that much. And now for game 2, I'm going to go over Leomon, and it actually did get another form of a small buff, that being the Fable Leomon Ace, funny enough. Well, within BT17 it got the promo, and now it got an Ace, and I know that one is mostly made more for the Nature Spirits deck, but again, it's not really super locked to it, and I think it could still be a nice addition to the deck, at least, you know, now they have an Archetype Ace, which I think is kind of nifty. And, you know, in this case, they end up going first, and I think it's just the normal Leomon play of just have a rookie in the back. It doesn't really matter as much which one, and kind of try to play out your soldier rookies just to get your pieces. And, you know, of course, they play the Electmon, and I still think this one's really solid just because the Inherit I really love just because it's on deletion to the Digi, and, you know, in this case, it's just chop 5, and they grab the level 4, so I'm pretty sure they just might be missing that one piece to kind of start off their whole combo. And with me, I end up just, you know, going to the EX7 I on the back and playing the Chessmon, and I'm kind of missing an Inalga type level 4 to go into, so that's what I was mostly looking for, and I didn't end up finding it doing that couple of draws and searches, so I end up just, you know, of course grabbing the Valkyremon just because I think it could be still a really useful ace card for the deck. And I think I could able to go up if I wanted to just, you know, use the Kase in hand right now, able to go up into my Nightmon and stuff, but I don't want to just because it's not the greatest stack out there, especially for this deck, just because I want the minus security. In this case, they don't end up going to level 5. I'm guessing they were missing it, so they just swing with the Leomon. And at least with this, they do have at least one, you know, on deletion D Digi, so I kind of have to be careful in this case. But with this, I kind of just go up into my level 4 for a cost of 1, thanks to the EX7 Shumon, which is still really fantastic going to your champions for essentially 1 cost. And, you know, obviously getting a free check when I can is really good. And I kind of figured if I'm going to get D-Digied, I might as well just try to remove Leomon now before I have anything bigger on board, and this free play of the alternate kind of saves me because now if they swing, I have the opportunity to ace, and they only really give me another rookie, which I don't really care as much right now. So obviously I think I'm in a pretty decent situation, just because if they swing, I'm able to ace most likely and still be able to delete the stuff. And sure, they are able to de-digivolve the ace, giving them more memory to do most stuff, but I'm not exactly super worried at the moment, just because again they only have like one big sack that can attack and then just a smaller rookie on the board right now. But they still have like a ton of memory right now, just because they also popped the boost. So I'm kind of in trouble because they still at least somewhat deal with the board. At least right now they go into the Cendrillmon to be able to bomb deck my level 3. And then they end up going and using the X anti-buy now. I'm not exactly sure why, just because they still have fortitude, so even if they did die, they would still come back. But again, maybe they had an X anti level 6 in hand, I'm not exactly sure. And then they also use Final Super Gun Punch, and even if they do end up evoing into a level 6 right after, the buff would still carry over, so at least they'd be able to get the benefits from that, because I believe their buffs would help them exceed 16k, so then they can get Rebo and Blocker. So maybe that's what they're going with that, because if they were to evolve, they would pass on. So maybe that's why. But in this case, I did have Valkyrimon Ace, so I'm able to just kind of like DP minus the board, and then I end up drawing, because they hit blue plugin. I deleted the guy, and of course the fortitude comes back. The Cendrillmon still lives because it normally is bigger than the minus 5k, so at least that's good. And of course they go into their heavy Leo one, digivolving the ace, and it's still their turn. And this is only looking slightly better for them than it is me, just because I only have one Nightmon, and at least I do have the Star Deck Cendrillmon in my hand, so I'm at least able to do some damage, because again they didn't really remove my Nightmon. And they play the rookie and it just instantly dies, so it pretty much was just, hey, I'm just gonna pass my turn, because I guess they didn't really have much else in their hand to really take advantage of. And in this case, of course, I just popped the train to immediately go into the Cendrillmon to end up doing some damage. And again, at least this one still has the ability to play out 2 tokens, and I think that's pretty nice, because you're able to kind of kill one of them with the overclock stuff, and the other one kind of just is there sitting just in case to be a caution tale for your opponent, because if you delete it, you get minus 3k, and it might make your next check a little bit more like wary, because if it's something bigger, then of course it would die. And of course get the overclock, and then since I just played the Orisa, I'm able to play the Cendrillmon, so I'm able to look through my deck a little bit more, and I get another one of the Cendrillmon. I think like I have all of them in my hand right now, which is still really good, and I get the cost reduction Cendrillmon. But now my board is again looking a little bit wider, so that's kind of good. The heavy Leomon is at least able to at least bottom deck the Cendrillmon I played, along with kind of just easily remove the token, so it's not a big deal for them. And right now the main focus should again just be cleaning up my board, because as soon as it would pass over, I pretty much have game, because of the fact that again I have 3 bodies, along with the fact that if I play another one I just get overclocked. So again, it's a do or die turn pretty much. And then of course they built a small stack in the back, which is really good. They of course aim for the Star Deck Cendrillmon, but thanks to the Promo Nightmon, I'm able to play out at level 3. And in this case I just pick the Chessmon, so that way I can discard Puppet. I end up just discarding the Cendrillmon, because I didn't really think I needed all that much, and I drew into another one anyways. They still get piercing, which is good, but they hit the trading, and now of course thanks to the end of attack, since I have a lot of small bodies on board, they're able to just remove one of them, and they pick the Cendrillmon. If you ask me, I would have probably picked the token just in case, but it is what it is. And during my turn, I end up just finishing game with all my smaller bodies. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching my videos. It really means a lot. And again, I've been having a lot of fun with EX7 decks, and I hope you guys have too. Again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and watch my other content. And again, see you guys later.